Hey guys, so today we're looking at rare and limited edition Chrysler 300s, but with a twist. This is the International Edition, so all of these vehicles are not or were not available in the US. I do want to have part 2 and 3 of this series cover all the North American Chrysler 300 variants, so those will be coming soon. Today we will look at 5 different vehicles, each with unique features and a limited production quantity. So let's get right into it. Chrysler Group in Melbourne had a one-off effort modifying a 300C Touring for what they called a customer evaluation vehicle project, resulting in the 300C SRT E490. The E490 paid tribute to the E490 Charger RT from 1973 in Australia as well. Obviously this is based on the SRT Touring, which is the wagon version that we'll get into later in this video, and Daimler Chrysler Asia Pacific thought that they would market this limited edition 300C using some OEM performance parts and other mods that would further attract attention to Chrysler's new flagship 300, and this E490 was the test mule. This was only shown off at an exclusive invitation-only pre-Melbourne motor show. The price was a whopping $84,990 Australian, which translated to almost $64,000 US, so very expensive. The E490 package alone would have added roughly $10,000 Australian or $7,500 US in cost. Unfortunately, there really wasn't anything too crazy done to this thing. It's finished in brilliant black crystal pearl with an added body kit, the vertical grille slats have been painted black, and the windows have been tinted. A meaner and deeper wheel was chosen, 20x9-inch XHP Cruise alloys with Goodyear F1 supercar tires, 245/45 ZR20 in the front, and slightly wider 255/45 ZR20s in the rear. Beneath the wheels there were 4 piston calipers in all 4 corners, with 14.2-inch discs up front and 13.8 inches in the rear. And inside, Chrysler added $6,000 worth of Alpine audio as well. Under the hood there was a typical 6.1 Hemi V8, but it had been beefed up a bit with a few mods. The glowing red rocker covers are just for show, but the matching Mopar cold air intake adds a few horsepower, along with the Mopar catback exhaust system and MagnaFlow rear mufflers. Instead of the normal 425 horsepower and 420 pound-feet of torque, Daimler Chrysler Australia claimed 445 horsepower and 430 pound-feet of torque, all paired with a stock 5-speed auto. Next up we can take a look at the 300C Touring Wagon, one of my favorites. The 300C was a pretty rare vehicle for all of Europe when it first came out for the 2005 model, but the 300C Touring was even harder to find. Of course, that was the wagon version, aka the global version of the Dodge Magnum. I don't have the specific wagon sales, but the total amount of units moved in Europe between the 300C sedan and the wagon were just over $50,000 for the first generation, and after that the wagon was discontinued. This 300C Touring was available in Latin America, Europe, and Australia. This wasn't a cheap vehicle, starting in the mid $40,000 range when converted to USD, while the top of the line SRT was nearly $60,000. That's mostly due to the import costs around the world, but staying relative, the wagon was roughly $3,000 Australian dollars more than the sedan version down under. This wagon is obviously familiar as it has the same beautiful front end as the American 300 sedans, while the rear end is shaped similarly to the Magnum. It has the same wheelbase as the 300 sedan, but is 16mm longer and 52mm higher. It also shares the rear-wheel drive and suspension layout, and many of the engine options as the sedan version. The SRT8 was also introduced as a wagon in 2006, with modified front and rear fascias with unique air ducts and a lower air dam, a functional rear deck lid spoiler, a body-colored grille insert, and unique SRT badging. For the interior, the front and rear seats were basically the same as the sedan version, with identical leg, head, and shoulder room. The extra room in the wagon comes from the trunk. The wagons had an elegant Chrysler clock in the middle of the center console, and California walnut or tortoiseshell style trim on the steering wheel, shift knob, and door pull handles. Standard features across many of the models include dual zone climate control, xenon HID headlights with washers and auto leveling system, rear parking sensors, a security alarm, and automatic windshield wipers. The SRT8 also got some extra features like rear park assist, front heated seats with memory functions and suede inserts, and a 300 km/h speedometer. As for performance, the Touring Wagon had similar engine offerings to the regular 300 and the Magnum. It had the options of the 2.7 and 3.5 liter V6s and the 5.7 liter Hemi. There was also a 3 liter turbo diesel that was property of Mercedes-Benz. The 3.5 and 5.7 were available in all-wheel drive in various years and countries, but the rest were solely rear-wheel drive. The SRT8 of course came with the 6.1 liter Hemi V8 that was found on all the other Chrysler, Dodge, and Jeep SRT8 models during this time. No matter the model, all of these wagons came with the 5-speed automatic transmission. On screen are the specifications of each of these engines, and the performance times as well of the 2010 model year. The performance here is substantially slower than the sedan versions, and even slower than the Magnums due to weighing a bit more. The next model on my list is going to be the Lancia Thema. Lancia is one of the most famous Italian car manufacturers and has been around since its creation in 1906. Lancia was recently known for luxurious cars, and at the time of this vehicle they were part of the Italian group Fiat Chrysler Automobiles. Note that there was a first generation of the Thema from 1984 to 1994, but this is the newer second gen. From 2011 to 2014, the Chrysler 300 was rebranded under Lancia to be sold in all European markets other than the UK and Ireland, which would keep the 300C name. So the car was basically the Euro version of the 300 for the second gen, and it ended up being a pretty rare vehicle, with just 5,103 units sold since the production began. The listed price was between 41 to 50,000 euros, which was about 60,000 to 72,500 US dollars in translation. There are many things that were modified from the American version to sell in the European market. Also, oddly enough, despite being sold only in Europe, the car was built in Brampton, Ontario in Canada, along with the rest of the Chrysler 300s. The front and rear is almost identical to the 300, but with the traditional Lancia badges instead, including the V-shape on the front grille. Many pieces outside were chrome plated as well, like the bars and mirrors. There are HID headlights that were really high-tech, with an automatic system, adaptive forward lighting that would adjust the beam as the vehicle rotates, a smart beam system, LED DRLs, and also LED taillights at the back. The headlights were smaller compared to the American version, and the front bumper layout is slightly different as well. The interior of the car was redone to better match the expectations of a European luxury car. High quality materials were used, like the option of Nappa leather seats, and a Poltrona Frau leather dashboard, and real walnut wood inserts on the center console, doors, and steering wheel. There's also a 2-panel panoramic sunroof, sapphire blue lighting in the cluster and LED rings around the cup holders, and even cooled, heated, and locking cup holders as well, along with lots of storage areas and a sliding tray. The ride was made extremely quiet with underbody panels changed, laminated glasses, 2-panel acoustic windshield, and acoustic panels in the passenger compartment and in the wheel arches. This also has the 8.4-inch Uconnect touchscreen navigation system and tri-zone air conditioning. There were 3 premium sound systems offered, including the executive trim with a 19-speaker Harman Kardon audio system with a 900-watt amplifier. In addition to all of this, there were 70 advanced preventative, active, and passive safety features. Preventative features included ready alert braking, rain brake support, forward collision warning, and rear crosspath detection. Active features included braking assistance, speed and safety distance control, and hill start assist, while passive features added side, knee, pelvis, and chest airbags, height adjustable seatbelts, active pedestrian protection, and an occupant retaining controller, among many other things. Finally, moving on to the performance, there were 3 V6 engine options available as you'll see on screen. The 3.6-liter Pentastar is available just like the North American cars, but there are also 2 diesel options with varying power. The Pentastar has 286 horsepower and 251 pound-feet of torque, paired with the ZF 8-speed automatic. There were also 3-liter multi-jet 2 engines that were built by VM Motori and developed with Fiat. There were 2 versions, one with 190 horsepower and 325 pound-feet of torque, and a more powerful one with 239 horsepower and 406 pound-feet of torque. Both of these got paired with the tried and tested W5A 580 5-speed automatic transmission. Overall, the Lancia Thema was slower than the North American counterparts, but the second diesel option does offer quite a bit of torque. Now we can look at the 2015 to 2020 300 SRT, where this vehicle got a facelift and was available in over 16 countries, including Belarus, Angola, Australia, New Zealand, Brunei, Zimbabwe, Indonesia, Japan, South Korea, the Middle East, and South Africa. Only one problem, it wasn't available in the US or Canada, despite being built at the Brampton assembly plant in Canada. Whether the SRT continues beyond this point is up in the air, having already been cancelled in Australia for 2021, but it's still got a very solid 6 model years. Sales were always dismal though, with only a few thousand produced over the entire time frame, making this vehicle very rare. An SRT core was also offered, which was intended to be a more affordable and bare bones model, but we won't talk about that today. The 300 SRT had an MSRP of around $77,000 Australian, or over $50,000 US. So that price point would put the 300 SRT just above the Charger and Challenger Scat Pack widebody, but below the Hellcats. The only engine available is the 6.4 liter V8 Hemi, which had 470 horsepower and 470 pound-feet of torque in this application, paired with an 8-speed automatic in a rear-wheel drive layout. The gear shifter has been replaced with a rotary E-dial, with a limited slip differential, an active exhaust, heavy-duty engine cooling, steering wheel paddle shifters, SRT performance pages, and a 300 km/h speedometer. For the exterior, you've got that SRT body style, which is slightly different from the regular models with a different lower front fascia, beefier side skirts, 4-inch round exhaust tips, and the spoiler, door handles, and mirrors all finished in body color. The exterior is totally chrome-free, with a black finish on the big honeycomb grille, window frames, and headlights. Instead of the traditional 392 Hemi badges that are found on the Dodges, the 300 gets the 6.4 Hemi badges on the front fenders. Typical wheels found on the SRT would be 20 by 9 inch forged alloy wheels that are a dark chrome color with 245/45/20 tires. Beneath the wheels are 4-piston Brembo brakes with red painted calipers. Rotors are 14.2 inches up front and 13.8 inches in the rear. The interior continues with enough features to truly call this a luxury sedan. There's a remote start, dual zone climate control, heated and ventilated front seats, heated rear seats and steering wheel, and heated and cooled front cup holders. The seats are finished in a combination of leather and suede. The driver and passenger seats are both 8-way power adjustable and 4-way lumbar adjustable. The infotainment system is the 8.4-inch Uconnect with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and there's 19 Harman Kardon Green Edge speakers with an 825-watt amplifier. A few more things include bright pedals, carbon fiber accents, and a cargo net. The last vehicle on today's list would be the rare and limited edition SRT Pacer that was available only in Australia. This is a creation from FCA subsidiary Chrysler Australia, who wanted to celebrate the 50th anniversary of an Australian icon, the 1969 Valiant Pacer. That's why the SRT Pacer is limited to just 50 units over 2019 and 2020, with pricing around 70,000 Australian dollars, which is around $45,000 US. The original 69 Pacer targeted buyers who wanted a fast, rear-wheel drive 4-door sedan, and it competed with the Holden Monero and Ford Falcon. Those original Pacers had a 3.7-liter straight-six engine, 3-speed manual, Pacer 225 badges, black stripes, and were available in blue, red, or wild yellow. Guillaume Drelon, the director of product for Chrysler in Australia, spoke about the car, saying, quote, "Marking the 50th anniversary of the much-loved Valiant Pacer, we're excited to celebrate such a milestone with this limited edition car, a revival of the Pacer nameplate for Australian motoring enthusiasts. This is truly a modern take on an Australian classic, and we're excited to bring the Pacer back in this exclusive run of fantastic-looking vehicles." End quote. This variant is based on the 300 SRT core, and there will be 3 colors available: gloss black, bright white, and ceramic gray. Chrysler did fully wrap one vehicle in the original wild yellow body color, but that's not available otherwise. Each side of the Pacer gets a thin black stripe, along with the Pacer 392 decals on the front fenders and trunk lid, replacing the usual 6.4 Hemi badges. There are also red accent lines on the front splitter area, trunk lid, and a stripe going around the edge of the rim. Blacked out SRT core wheels and red Brembo calipers round out the exterior features. The interior gets a Pacer plaque on the center console, which tells you which number you have out of 50, and there are Pacer 392 sill covers and floor mats. They also throw in a very nice limited edition framed photo, showing both the Pacers in the wild yellow color in front of the former Chrysler factory in Adelaide. These prints are numbered out of 50, corresponding with the vehicle. So that's the end of this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and I tried to give you as many details as possible on each model covered. Let me know which one is your favorite, and if you want to see a part 2 or part 3 as well. Thanks for watching, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.